People who fall asleep within few minutes, how do you it? I actually researched and tested numerous sleep patterns, hygiene concepts, nootropics, and really took a journal approach to these hypotheses and test phases, which I did over the past 10 years in 3-month cycles. One of the aspects I came to learn about myself. I simply can't fall asleep before 24:30. If I do fall asleep, voluntarily forced or cause of exhaustion, like say around 23, then I will wake up 3 to 4 hours later and feel really foggy. I tried to fix my sleep routine and adopt those sleep cycles for months. It's always the same. Though, if I fall asleep between 0:30 and 130, I will sleep through for 7 to 8 hours, steady, and will be refreshed the moment I wake up. I can come back to that sleep routine without any effort. I can have tested a pattern for 3 months, trying to force myself to sleep at different moments and periods, but it takes just one night and I'm refreshed again, waking up after falling asleep at 0:30 till 130. That is simply natural. That's not learned, not conditioned, it's how my body works. It's genetically ingrained. And for some reason I do not possess the adaptability to be as refreshed and regenerated with adopting other sleep patterns. It's entirely possible to use those, but the clarity of mind right after waking up I reach with that specific time window is something I can't reach with others. I do something similar. I'll try to imagine a random neutral situation in as much detail as I can, like if there's people involved, what are they wearing? What does their hair look like? And so on. For whatever scenario I'm picturing, it seems to work really well for me, at least. I do have a weird issue where I'm essentially nocturnal, though lol I frequently don't go to sleep until like 7 or 8 or even 9 a.m. and then sleep till between 2 and 4-ish. I'm not sure if it's just because I've worked night shifts pretty much my entire life, or if it has more to do with ADHD or something, which apparently can cause similar sleeping habits, but the imagining random stuff in vivid detail is super helpful once I've actually made it into my bed lol. I've heard of the toe/muscle turning off thing, but I've never actually tried it. I'll have to give it a whirl at some point. Edit, wrote neural instead of neutral lol. This is also me, though I never dream. But I used to struggle to get to sleep when I was younger, in my teens and early 20s. Partly I think I might just have grown out of it. Though I did realize that my problem was usually that I couldn't stop thinking about something when I was laying in bed, and I took to singing songs in my mind to stop my brain working on anything else. Did that for a few months and it really seemed to help, but now I don't have to bother anymore. I just lay down and sleep, any time between 10 p.m. and midnight, and will sleep through for 8 hours unless I'm woken. Bad news is I'm a light sleeper, so easily woken by all sorts of things, and if I wake up after even just a couple of hours sleep, the chances are I'll be awake until 6 or 7 a.m. Getting to sleep the first time is easy, but getting back to sleep is impossible. I've posted something like this before, but sleep hygiene. I used to be a full-on insomniac, laying awake in bed for hours, getting maybe a few hours of fitful sleep a night, always tired. I'm an anxious person and stuff would just run through my head all night and I couldn't stop it. These days, I fall asleep within minutes and get restful sleep about 80% of the time. Sleep hygiene changed my life, but fair warning, you're probably not going to like what it entails. Start using your bed only for sleeping and sex. Don't read your phone, watch TV, play video games, etc. And start a regular bedtime. It doesn't matter if for a few weeks you can't fall asleep, just get into bed at 10 p.m., read a book, paper or sidelit e-ink, no backlights, for 30 to 45 minutes, then close your eyes and lay there. Focus on your breathing, slow and deep breaths, direct your attention back to the breathing as it invariably wanders. In general, try to avoid eating or using backlit screens, TV, computer, phone, tablet, for at least an hour before bed. Don't drink caffeinated beverages after 2 p.m., even if caffeine doesn't affect you. Try to get a bit of exercise every day, even if it's light exercise like walking or doing a 7-minute HIIT workout. If you commit to this for a month or two, doing it even when it's not working, I bet you'll eventually begin to sleep better. After you're in a habit, you can break these rules for special occasions once in a while and the impact won't be as big since you're in the habit already. But at least for a month or so, be rigorous and inflexible. If all this seems too difficult, the half-ass version is just no backlit screens an hour before bed. Doesn't matter if you have flux or a blue light filter on or whatever. Just don't do it. Meditation. It definitely did the trick for me. I used to struggle falling to sleep, even someone else's light breathing would set me into a sleepless rage. Once I got the hang of meditating, I applied it to my sleep. I had a few techniques. One of them was each time I had a thought or train of thought, and came to the realization I was having a thought, I would let it go. Essentially stop thinking about it and focus on emptying my mind. Maybe I would focus on breathing or how exciting it will be to fall asleep and wake up feeling rested. I felt this basically broke the habit of me overthinking before sleep, or getting too emotional from lights or sounds around me. It took quite a few weeks to get the hang of it and make it a habit, but eventually I got there and started seeing results. I also think investing in a good pillow and bed or mattress topper. I got my bed second-hand for $300 NZD and spent $80 NZD on a latex pillow, and it totally changed the game. Also a good stretching practice or yoga so your aches and pains don't wake you in the night. As many have noted, the key is to focus on something intently in a form of meditation. I personally like to go beat by beat through my favorite story, novel or movie. Without ever summarizing, I think about how each plot point unfolds, what it looks like in the space, etc. If I try to skip past even the most minuscule detail that I might remember as I think it through, I will slow down and go back to that point I tried to move past. I started doing this in my teens with Jurassic Park, and I would typically get 25% if the way through, but now, if I do this, I'm lucky to get past the first scene. This is one of the reasons that people watch something TV shows that they know well. And thing happens. You turn your mind off through intensive repetition. Good luck. I started those about 2 years ago, and along with CBD I'm out in under 5 minutes. The US Navy pre-flight school developed a scientific method to fall asleep day or night, in any conditions, in under 2 minutes, the book reads. After 6 weeks of practice, 96% of pilots could fall asleep in 2 minutes or less. Even after drinking coffee, with machine gunfire being played in the background. Here's how to do it. Relax the muscles in your face, including tongue, jaw, and the muscles around the eyes. Drop your shoulders as far down as they'll go, followed by your upper and lower arm, one side at a time. Breathe out, relaxing your chest, followed by your legs, starting from the thighs and working down. You should then spend 10 seconds trying to clear your mind before thinking about one of the 3 following images. You're lying in a canoe on a calm lake with nothing but a clear blue sky above you. You're lying in a black velvet hammock in a pitch black room. You say, "Don't think, don't think, don't think" to yourself over and over for about 10 seconds. I have problems sleeping, but I've managed to solve most of them. To me, there are 2 problems with sleep: falling asleep and staying asleep. I can fall asleep in about 20 minutes, which isn't that great compared to some people, but it's better than tossing and turning for 3-5 hours like I used to. Here is what I do. No screens 2 hours before bed. So no laptops, phones, or tablets. I used to think blue light filters made it okay to use a screen minutes before bed, but based on personal experience that isn't true. Go to bed and wake up at roughly the same time. I am in bed by 7 to 7:30 p.m. and wake up between 3 and 4 a.m. No caffeine at all. This one hurt because I had to give up tea, which is one of my favorite things. Try not to fall asleep. This sounds counterproductive, but it works. I used to try to fall asleep, but then I read a study of insomnia patients and the ones who tried to stay awake fell asleep quicker. The way to do this is to go to bed normally, turn out all the lights and electronics, get in bed, etc., but keep your eyes open and tell yourself to stay awake. This eliminates the problem of being awake because you're frustrated. Then when I feel my eyes close and I feel tired, I try to keep my eyes open. I tell myself I don't need to fall asleep or get a good night's rest since I've functioned without it. It's a weird mental game, but it works for me. I don't use an alarm. I have a bad habit of counting down to when I need to wake up, and this gives me anxiety, but I just tell myself I'll sleep and wake up when I've had enough rest. I normally wake up a few hours before I have to work, so this may not work for you depending on your schedule. Use blackout curtains and a sleep mask. This helps me a lot. I hate light when trying to sleep. It definitely keeps me awake, so I do what I can to eliminate it. I place my alarm face down and make sure none of my electronics are emitting light. I fall asleep within 2 or 3 minutes of going to bed. It's great, but doesn't happen by itself. I get very grumpy if I'm tired and recognize the link between chronic sleep deficiency and illness/mortality. Prepare to sleep well, no caffeine after 2 p.m., that includes soft drinks. I'm looking at you. Diet Coke. Eat your evening meals at a sensible time, use night shift on your devices if you can, and no exercise after 9 p.m., I typically go to bed at 11 p.m. Have a good sleep environment. I have my bedroom windows open in the evening to ensure the room is nice and cool. I have proper blackout blinds, www.blockblinds.co.uk, which make the room absolutely dark. I don't want TV in bed and I put my phone on D&D. A warm shower can help you feel sleepy. Regularity is key. I find this difficult as I like to get engrossed in projects and often lose track of time in the evenings. Get up at the same time every day and go to sleep at the same time even if it's the weekend. Clear your mind. I always write a to-do list before I finish work so I can leave those thoughts literally on my desk. When I'm going to sleep, I find it helpful to consciously think about one of two things: a project I'm looking forward to, such as building a bookcase or landscaping the garden. The creative side of things allows the part of my brain that can race to switch off. B, the name of every woman I've slept with, in order. I know that sounds a bit shitty and I love my wife, but going through a list like that detaches me from the daily grind and work stress, so that I fall asleep within a few minutes. The list is 9 names long. It's never come easily for me. I've had insomnia since I was a kid. For me, it takes the right combo of prescribed meds. Without going into too much detail, about 10g melatonin. For clarification, melatonin is an over-the-counter medication. You also should only take 10 mg. I've been told that any higher dose than that is pointless or works against itself, and some doxepin work wonders. Of course, please speak to a specialist about this problem and possible treatments for it. What works for me may not work for you. It took over 10 years for my doctor and me to find the right combo for me, but it's well worth it. I used to cry myself to bed until I inevitably passed out from exhaustion, leaving behind a groggy feeling and a headache in the morning. Now I chew some gummy bears, wait like 10 minutes, and fall asleep. Small tip: don't resist the meds or the sleepiness they cause. It just makes stuff worse. I rarely fall asleep within seconds, but I figured out how to do that. I must be tired both mentally and physically. When I come back from an intense day of college, my head feels tired, but since I've done nothing but to sit in a chair for hours, I still have energy in my body and I can't get proper rest. When I come home from a long day of swimming/cycling, my body feels tired, but since I do those activities mindlessly, mostly like a reflex, my mind still wanders around and I can't get proper rest. So the answer is to exhaust myself in an proportionate manner. In my case, I decided to walk/ride my bike to the college for 7 kilometers, grind my brains at the courses, do 7 more km back home. The second I hit the corner of my pillow I'm out cold and I'd usually get enough rest. I'd like to thank narcolepsy for being able to fall asleep within 30 seconds of putting my head on the pillow. It sounds like a dream scenario of having a hard day at work only to come home and be able to fall asleep at the drop of a hat. In reality, it fucking sucks. The drawback is I haven't had a good night's rest in over a decade. I can fall asleep at 10 p.m., wake up at 9 a.m. the next day and still feel like I could fall back asleep almost instantly. There is no medication that I can take to sleep better and there is no known cure. I will always be tired, no matter the time of day. I would give my entire life savings right now just to be able to wake up and feel like I have had a really decent night's sleep. I had sleeping problems for years. I could stay asleep once I got there, but it would take me a solid couple hours of tossing and turning before I would drift off. I now regularly fall asleep in less than 10 minutes. The biggest changes for me were reducing caffeine, learning to sleep on my back, and I can't stress how much this has helped me, listening to guided sleep meditations. I use this app called Insight Timer and it took me a while to find guided sleep meditations that didn't weird me out or sound too hippie-ish, but man, now that I've found 4 or 5 different ones that I like, I can put those on and sometimes I will literally fall asleep in less than a minute. My GF is always blown away by that and tells me in the morning that I laid down and conked out immediately. I love sleeping now. The ones I personally like are called Yoga Nidra. Basically all it does is guide your attention to your breath and then verbally goes over all your body parts while you concentrate on relaxing those parts. Works like a charm for me. This will likely get buried, but I can sleep anywhere and anytime, no matter how loud or crowded it is. Credentials: I have fallen asleep in every class in university and high school. How I do it? Clear your mind. Think about nothing. Drown out the noise around you, or focus on one thing/sound if you find that to be difficult. Don't move a single muscle, notify your body that you're about to rest. If you're in bed, find your preferred resting position and don't move. You'll fall asleep before you know it. I once read that this is a military sleeping trick. Combine number 1 and number 2. 3. Use your imagination. It sounds stupid, but if number 1 and number 2 don't work, give this a try. Imagine a scenario where you will need to sleep. If you're good at daydreaming, this should be easy. For example, imagine you're sleeping on a hammock at a beach. Bonus: try adjusting your pillow. If you can't sleep with lights on, natural or artificial, make sure it's actually dark. Couple of tricks I use almost nightly. First off, I have to decide to stop thinking about anything, like make a conscious decision to stop thinking, which can be tough when all of the thoughts start flooding in. If I have trouble clearing my mind, I just focus on my breaths, in and out. Whenever I find myself drifting back into thought, I refocus on my breath, over and over. My other option is just to visualize the most absolutely boring thing I can think of, usually fake wood grain, or a beige patch of carpet. Sounds silly, but if my mind is throwing visions of the day at me, I just continuously reimagine a square of boring ass carpet. Also, get totally comfortable, set the bed up, take a sip of water, put chapstick on, blow my nose. That way when you close your eyes, you don't have any random things you have to do like readjusting your pillow or realizing your lips are dry. If all else fails, get up and go pee, then start the breath focus/carpet visualization over again. Number 1 though, you have to decide to go to sleep and agree with yourself to stop thinking about anything. I don't do anything special. No avoiding electronics, drink whatever whenever. No regular schedule. I just fucking lay down and I'm gone in 2 to 3 minutes. I have noticed some patterns that may cause me to not fall asleep so well, so I avoid them. First thing is, I cannot go to bed before I want to go to sleep. If I lay down and want just watch something, or read a book or whatever, I won't be able to fall asleep for much longer. It suddenly becomes even several hours. Second thing, I need to be able to get into comfortable position. I don't care for light or noise. Just comfort. That's why I cannot fall asleep in car/plane and others, but I can sleep through my wife vacuuming the room I sleep in at 9 a.m. Of course there are times when I cannot fall asleep. Aside from the rules above, it is either stressful time at work, or some new expansion is coming into a game I play and I can't decide what to play or how to go about it. When it comes to games, I'm like 10-year-old, even though I'm 27.